Hey guys, I just had a great time talking to Dujendra on this Taking It Slow podcast. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do. I am Random Cricket Photos Guy. Maybe you have heard of me, maybe you have not, but this is a podcast that you should listen to. Dujendra has got a great list of people who he has got on this podcast, and it is going to be a worthwhile experience. So do subscribe to this channel and follow me on Random Cricket Photos on Twitter.
It's another Sunday. You know what that means. It's time to take it slow. My guest today is someone who I've never met, but have somehow grown to admire a lot over the last few years or so. If I start listing down everything he's good at, it might take an entire podcast. He's a budding commentator, he's a podcaster, he's a quizzer, he's a phenomenal writer, he's a content manager, he's a Twitter celebrity. But most importantly, he's a wonderful human being. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome on the Taking It Slow podcast none other than the random cricket photographer guy, Amit Sinha. Hey man, what's up? How are you doing?
Hey, what a nice introduction, man. I was not prepared for that. But yeah, I think I'm very happy to be on this podcast because considering the kind of people that you have brought on this podcast, I think I'm nobody near most of them. But that's why it's a pleasure to be here. And also the fact that, as you said, that we have never met, but there is a lot of
Yeah.
mutual respect, and I have a great respect for the work that you have been doing. And considering the
Wow.
fact that you have so much work, and despite that you have managed to eke out time for your podcast, lots of respect, and that's why I'm looking forward to this conversation with you.
यार अच्छा लगता है मतलब बहुत रेयरली ऐसा होता है कि कोई तारीफ करे जब कोई तारीफ करता है बहुत अच्छा लगता है so so for whoever who's listening this probably on a Sunday morning, we are recording this on a Saturday afternoon before the second day of India versus England kicks off. So just we have only the context of the first innings from India. So अगर कल को कुछ बहुत ही random हो जाए तो यार गाली वाली मत देना. But so far, Pant has been outstanding. मतलब we were discussing this yesterday over WhatsApp as well. It is almost unrecognizable from the player he was to the player he's turning out to be. When he initially burst on the scene, swashbuckler, आंख बंद करके बस खेलना है उस टाइप का प्लेयर था शुरुआत में बट जिस मेच्योरिटी के साथ उसने खेलना शुरू कर दिया है he is almost unrecognizable from the player who debuted for India. What a knock, yeah.
Yeah, also, I mean, unrecognizable in the way that he has begun to take responsibilities, but his
Yeah,
playing style still remains the same, and that is what makes him so effective.
yeah,
It is so
yeah,
similar to the way Virender Sehwag used to play, and to score a century when your team is 91 for 5, 98 for 5, and to score a century at more than run a ball, it is a
yeah.
phenomenal thing to do in England. You have not had a lot of practice because we just had one practice match. So yeah, the kind of batting that he has done over the last few years now, he plays those effective knocks, memorable knocks.
Hmm.
Even I remember the series before this against Sri Lanka. Although I think Shreyas Iyer scored a lot of runs, but most of the
Hmm.
times it was the small cameos that Rishabh Pant played that made all the difference. So he has
Yeah.
made it a knack of playing those kind of knocks, which have an impact on the result of the match. And without any doubt, this knock is going to have an impact on the result of the match. We have, I mean, the way it began, I did not think that we would last the entire day, but we are going into day two with more than 300 runs on the board. And look, I know that we would love to have a win, but considering that it
Hmm.
is England, so there is always a possibility of rain, and also the fact that a draw gives us a series win. I think,
I would take a draw right now. I would happily take a
exactly.
draw when we are stepping into the match. I would have happily taken a draw.
Yeah, and from 71 for 4 to be, in this position of strength, it's a great thing to happen. And of course, the credit
Hmm.
goes to Rishabh Pant. मजा आ जाता है मतलब बैटिंग उसकी देखने में और स्पेशली एज आई put it on Twitter. I am never going to go in front of him because he definitely has a thing for bald men. He beats the shit out of them. Nathan Ryan हो, मोइन अली हो, जैक लीच हो, भाई साहब. But yeah, so again वही जो हम वीरेंद्र सहवाग के बारे में बात करते थे, where he did not even consider off spinners as bowlers. So
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
something similar with Rishabh Pant in the way he plays against spinners. So it is quite a nice throwback to the time when we had a player like Sehwag, but also the
Yeah,
fact that he's playing his out of his 5 centuries, four have come in away conditions, and we are still
yeah,
not talking about his most famous knock, which came at Gaba, which was not a century, but still one of the most phenomenal knocks that we have seen.
yeah,
So yeah, this guy has made it a habit of playing very important knocks. My only gripe is that he did not play that sort of a knock in the WTC final when I really expected him to. But I think around that he has done
so
enough to
that's
earn
what, right?
love.
He has this tendency to frustrate you a lot more because दिखता है कि हाँ इतना talent है इस आदमी के पास. I was listening to Ravi Shastri on comms yesterday, and it was a very insightful thing that he said that when you see him defend, you see that he has a lot more time than your usual batsman.
Yep.
एंडरसन को रिवर्स स्वीप कर रहा है. He has a lot of time to do a lot of stuff. That's why he frustrates you so much. You make use of this caliber more. On one hand, we say that, but he's 24, and the number of significant knocks that he has played in his very short span of his career, if persisted with and if he keeps himself injury free and his head on his shoulders, I think we have a potential legend in the making with him.
Yeah, he already with, like, as you said, the kind of significant knocks he has played in 30 matches. Not a lot of people get to do that, and
Hmm.
to do that in away
Hmm.
conditions, especially because in the last few years we have seen that Indian top order, especially because Rahane and Pujara were in not so good
Yeah.
form. So whenever Pant came into bat, the chips were always down. So his knocks have been counter attacking. So
Yeah.
he has already played a lot of special knocks, and I do not know where his career goes from here. It should only go up. But even if it does not, he has given enough good days to Indian fans. I mean, I honestly count a player's, how good a player is on the basis of what kind of impact he has on the fans.
Yeah.
I slept
Yeah.
so well yesterday night knowing that. Seriously, I had a very long day traveling from Malad to Lower Parel in a day where it kept on raining both sides,
Yeah.
and then on the local I was watching the match. ठीक है, उसके बाद मैं ऑटो में भी आ रहा था, तब भी मैच देख रहा था, घर आके भी मैच देख. I was tired to my bones, but when Rishabh Pant played those kind of shots, and when we
दिल खुश
crossed
कर दिया.
300, like ठीक है, बस आज मैं सोएगा अच्छे से. So he has given us too many good days. And yeah, of course, as fans, we are always greedy and we would want him to give us more and more. But let's focus on the present and let's appreciate the very special talent that we have.
Yeah. So I was a little worried. So for the last decade or so, Virat Kohli has been this flag bearer of Test cricket. Okay, Test cricket
Yeah.
is important. So even yesterday, he has this impact on people watching. He has this impact on viewers that when he enters the arena, you tend to sit back and take notice. कि हाँ भाई कुछ अब बॉक्स ऑफिस होने वाला है. He has
Yeah.
had this impact for the last decade or so. And over the last couple of years, his form has been patchy. He has not been up to his usual brilliant standards. Uh, Rishabh Pant is potentially someone who has the ability to take over that flag from Virat Kohli. That you should watch Test cricket because of me now. Unless as long as I am there on the crease, you will see box office on the pitch. You will see action packed sequences on the pitch. He has that potential to take over that mental from Virat, which is very high praise very early in his career.
Also the fact that the rate at which he plays his knocks, that makes him very
Hmm.
special. And as I said, that last couple of years the batting, the middle order hasn't been great, so that
Hmm.
makes it all the more, because whenever he has come into bat, we are like, ab to bas collapse ho jayega. And we are used to India getting all out for less than 200, 150. But this guy does this again and again, and
Hmm.
you have very correctly said that he is going to be the flag bearer of tests in India, and uh, tests for India. And I was talking about this, that in India, we know that even if we are not watching the series, we know the result. Okay, भले ही वो
Hmm.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया है या
Hmm.
श्रीलंका है, सब
Hmm.
in front of spin, everyone loses to us. But it is the away matches that make for interesting watching, right? And it is in away conditions that he's prospering. So that's where it
Yeah.
has become, as you said, Virat Kohli के जैसा he has become the kind of player who is getting people to the stadium, and he's getting more people to the stadium because of the way he plays. I mean, I would say that Brendan McCullum, the kind of cricket, the brand of cricket that he played towards the later stages of his career,
Yeah,
that is the kind of cricket that Rishabh Pant is playing now, right? And he is more exciting than Virat Kohli, I would say, because of, again, it can always go both ways. You can return extremely disappointed also, but at the end of the day, if it works, if he plays the kind of knock that he played yesterday, full paisa vasool.
मतलब यू ऑलमोस्ट सॉर्ट ऑफ रिलेट टू हिम कि हाँ कोई अपने जैसा है जो जिसको ऐसा खेलने का मौका मिल रहा है. You see this when he gets dismissed each and every time. He is the slowest man to get off the pitch. इतना crestfallen होता है
Yes.
यार मेरी बैटिंग खत्म हो गई यार मैं आउट हो गया शिट
Which
यार.
I find that very strange, and I saw that yesterday also. He got out for
हाँ
146, right? And I was like, boss, you have completely turned the match on its head with your knock. What is this? He's like absolutely heartbroken. And the
yeah.
kind of cricket that he plays, it is bound to happen, right? Like one of the shots will be mistimed. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, I like that also because it shows how much hunger he has. I hope he goes on to turn these hundreds into double hundreds, and just imagine the impact of those knocks then. Because
Yeah, yeah.
after 100 yesterday, he just went into T20 mode.
आप जो बोल रहे हो कि
After
आफ्टर द 100 he went to T20 मोड. यार 80 बॉल्स में 100 बनाया, दैट इज आल्सो T20 मोड ओनली है. शुरुआत भी कहाँ टेस्ट से
बिल्कुल,
किया
yeah,
है
yeah.
वो.
नहीं, after a point, like, when Rishabh Pant is settled, it's almost like you can throw any spinner in front of him, and there is no way
Hmm.
that spinner is going to come out unscathed. So
Hmm.
that's how dangerous he becomes, and that's how easy run making becomes when Rishabh Pant is settled and there is
Hmm.
a spinner in front of him. So yeah, there was a chance to maximize, but 146 is a great knock on the first day in an
Yeah.
English England test.
We would also be doing a little bit of disservice if we don't mention the impact Jadeja has had on our test team over the last couple of years, at least, if not more. There was a lengthy period of time where he was considered the holding spinner, the secondary spinner to Ashwin. He was called the bits and pieces cricketer very famously. But the way he has turned around his batting, is commendable. Yesterday, again, phenomenal job. I mean, it would have been
Yeah,
very easy to get carried away with the way
yeah.
Rishabh was batting, but to show the maturity and the calmness that he displayed, to display his own role, and now then take over post Rishabh has departed. Phenomenal batting.
Yeah, again, one of those players, because of the fact that Indian top order or middle order have been failing, he has to, do this job regularly. And now he has
Hmm.
made it a habit. He has become so good at it. And correctly pointed out that the maturity is great to see because he also has his own, shot making abilities. But he was quite happy to let Rishabh play the kind of knock he did.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
whenever the opportunity came to him, he hit all his shots as well. But yeah, it's just great to see how he has matured over the years, and it is because of he has also possibly realized that he's not going to be the Ashwin kind of impact bowler, but
Hmm.
his
Hmm. Hmm.
batting definitely gives him the edge, and he has vastly improved. As in, again, there are always these questions: why pick Jadeja ahead of Ashwin? And there are always answers coming from Jadeja's bat why we go ahead with Jadeja, because just imagine if in that condition we had Ravi Ashwin coming in at number 7. I do not
Yeah.
think we would have been able to make that recovery. No disrespect to Ashwin the batter,
Hmm.
but still
Hmm.
it's a different level of batting that Jadeja has been doing for the last couple of years, and he has proved to be a valuable asset wherever he has played. And again,
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of people who are great at the field, especially having grown up in 2000s India जहाँ पे इतने liabilities होते थे. So Jadeja in the field is a different energy, and that I believe translates into what the team does. So it's always great to have Jadeja in the team, and with his contribution with the bat, he's right now indispensable.
Yep, absolutely. So, hope that India has a great second day and third day and fourth day as well. Uh,
I don't
moving on.
second,
Hmm.
third day, fourth day, fifth day बारिश हो जाए मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. But yeah,
Moving
excited to
on to
see
you,
Jasprit
Amit.
Bumrah as
Huh.
the captain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something really I'm really looking forward to. I hope that he is the captain in the two sense of the word as well. कि ऐसा नहीं हो कि कहने को वो कैप्टन है और फिर रेन्स आर बीइंग हैंडल्ड बाय विराट
Yeah.
और ऋषभ.
No, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Virat that way is not a figure who, likes to take all the limelight, especially we have seen when Rohit has captain, when Faf has captain. So Jasprit Bumrah is his own man. I think he, as a character also, he has developed a lot. As in, we remember the Marco Janssen duel and everything. So he's no more just the good guy who is going to get you wickets and all. He's a proper character. He's a proper fighter, and he has, with the way he has bowled, over the years. Last year only that wicket of Robinson, the
अरे
slower ball and all. So we know that he's a thinking cricketer, right? So he's always trying to outfox the batsman, and this time he has to do that to 11 batsmen. That is the thing. So, and I am pretty sure he's going to be quite a thing with this captaincy also.
that Robinson wicket, बहुत rarely ऐसा होता है that you get the feeling that you are seeing genius at work. That the entire setup, the entire over that he bowled to him was genius at work. Pinpoint accuracy से everything being executed after being planned. Sheer genius. It is a term that is used loosely these days, but that was sheer genius at work.
And that tells so much about Jasprit Bumrah because we have seen him doing this again and again when the
Hmm.
team has needed it and in conditions that are not easy, right? That's
Hmm.
Sean Marsh dismissal also at
Yeah.
MCG, and even in the South Africa test, the way he got Van der Dussen. So there have
Hmm.
been so many instances which tells you that this is a very special cricketer. And honestly, like I to consider very lucky to have been born in an era where I have seen Jasprit Bumrah and Rishabh Pant and Virat Kohli play for India at the same time.
Moving on to you, Amit. I introduced you by calling you a Twitter celebrity. Is it fair to start calling you a Twitter celebrity or a Twitter influencer now? I mean, 30,000 followers मजाक नहीं है यार.
यार अब वो मुझे पता नहीं कैसे हुए हैं, ठीक है? मुझे देखो सीधी-सी बात है, मुझे कहीं और लिखने को तो मिलता है नहीं, तो मैंने यहाँ पे लिख दिया। अब लोगों को पसंद आ गया वो उनकी कहानी है। मेरी कहानी ये है कि मुझे कहीं लिखने को मिल नहीं रहा था, तो मैंने यहाँ पे लिखना शुरू कर दिया।
ब्लू टिक एंड ऑल मतलब कुछ कुछ अलग फील होता है ऐसे आफ्टर यू
नहीं,
वेरीफाइड.
नहीं, बिल्कुल अलग फ़ील नहीं होता है, बस यही लगता है कि अब ज़्यादा लोग तुमसे नफ़रत करेंगे क्योंकि ट्विटर की दुनिया काफ़ी
टॉक्सिक है.
देखो, काफ़ी टॉक्सिक है एंड दैट इज़ वेयर आई थिंक आई डोंट नो व्हाट in the last 3 years that I've been on Twitter, I've had very few such experiences where I was like at the receiving end of hate because it is very difficult to hate on Twitter. And honestly, the response to what I do has been so beautiful and almost overwhelming. I do not know what have I done to get this, but yeah, I consider myself lucky that on a platform where it is so easy to peddle negativity and hate, I have not been at the receiving end abhi tak touch wood, of a lot of hate. But yeah, sometimes वो जो ब्लूटिक है ना, people है अरे ये तो बड़ा आदमी है, इसको आज थोड़ा ऐसा तो ऐसा
हड़काते हैं इसको.
होता है,
हाँ.
कोई बड़ा आदमी नहीं हूँ यार, मैं अभी भी लोकल में ट्रैवल करता हूँ, ठीक है.
हाँ, ब्लू
तो
टिक
यार
आने से हमारी सैलरी में कुछ इंक्रीमेंट नहीं होता है.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल। फॉलोअर से अगर सैलरी मिलती तो अलग बात होती, पर ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है, सो प्लीज़ डोंट गेट मिसलेड।
How did you start this page? What was the thought behind writing these long threads? Usually पहले तो blogs होते थे ना जब तुम जिस टाइम पे तुमने पेज शुरू किया था. Did you used to write on blogs as well पहले?
हाँ, तो कहानी लंबी है, तो मैं थोड़ा
हम्म.
आई विल गो लिटिल क्योंकि मुझे लंबी कहानियाँ सुनाने की आदत है, तो यहाँ पे भी एक लंबी
बिल्कुल
कहानी सुना देते हैं, इस
बिल्कुल.
बार कहानी का पात्र मैं हूँ। सो यार I have had a very long relationship with cricket, okay? And that is largely because I was growing up in a household where we had a black and white television जिसपे सिर्फ दूरदर्शन था। दूरदर्शन पे 2 चीज़ें आती है जो ढंग की होती है। हम सीरियल्स की बात नहीं कर रहे बिकॉज़ वो बिल्कुल ढंग के नहीं होते। तो दूरदर्शन पे क्रिकेट आता था और
हम्म.
फ़िल्में आती थी। और क्रिकेट
बिल्कुल.
और फ़िल्में मेरे दोनों मतलब बसी हुई है मेरे अंदर, ठीक है?
हम्म.
And as I said, I always loved the game. I always loved watching the game. And because of the fact that my father also was a major cricket lover, so we would watch a lot of cricket together. And he would also keep telling ki, "Arey, this player was so good. This is, Salim Durrani ke kisse or the 1983 World Cup stories." So my father would tell a lot of them. So of course, I was in love with cricket by the time I was,
हम्म.
in my teens. And when I reached my teens, when I reached college, I discovered something called cricket quizzing. ठीक है, बहुत quizzing होती है. And I went to one of these quizzes. It was a major open quiz, means it is open to everyone,
You
which
can
also
walk in.
means that yeah, you can, anyone can walk in, and which also
Hmm.
means that it gathers the biggest of quizzers, right? And the people who come to quiz are, they know their shit. And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
there is no level to the questions, because there are such big people, so unko, of course you can't ask them easy questions. So
Hmm.
one of those quizzes I attended, and वहां पर I realized कि यार, I know my cricket, I love watching it, but I think there is still a lot that I do not know about it. And that was 2013 January. And because I was a quizzer myself, and I thought ki cricket has to be my strongest suit, man, I know this game inside
Hmm.
out. But that
Hmm.
realization that I do not know inside out was quite embarrassing. And after that, I started reading like a crazy man. I mean, I can tell
Hmm.
you that there is no Wikipedia page on any cricketer that I have not read. Cricinfo page, Wikipedia page, kitabe. On my In my phone gallery, there are folders. Cricketers who have taken 10 wickets on their debut. Cricketers whose highest score is 99. Cricketers who have 100 on their debut and in their last test. I won a quiz where I recognized all the cricketers from the first slide. So it's a LVC where they would first show a photo. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
people have to guess what is the long connect. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
then number of photos who have the same feet. So
Hmm.
of course, when they start, they show the rarest of photos, like someone from that list who is not very well known. And I
Hmm.
got that on the first hit. I got
Hmm.
that, okay, oh, this is a cricketer whose highest score is 99. So this is a list of cricketers whose highest score in test is 99. Okay. So I got to that level with quizzing, and फिर मुझे मजा आने लगा. Like I loved reading the game. I loved
Hmm.
preparing a lot of quizzes, which I still do. I make a lot of quizzes,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
only cricket, but others as well. सो वही कर रहा था मैं इतने सालों से, और स्पोर्ट्स में भी काम कर रहा था, बट नेवर गॉट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू वर्क इन क्रिकेट. नाउ I just felt that there were a lot of these stories that I had read with the tab the intention was to make a question out of it, like something juicy, and इसमें से कुछ बना सकते हैं सवाल. तो आई यूज टू डू दैट. बट फिर आफ्टर अ पॉइंट आई वाज लाइक, यार ये सवाल बना के आई एम जस्ट asking these questions in quizzes, and it's just a very small handful of people who I am sharing these questions with, these stories with. How
Hmm.
about I do it on, say, a larger platform? And so I started putting photos from the game and writing their stories on my
Hmm.
own account. Someone told me कि इसका Facebook page बना दो. It would be great to share it with people who are actual lovers of the game.
Followers. Huh.
I
Hmm.
Yeah, because I did have a lot of these anecdotes, stories, because I had really read a lot, and I still read a lot. I enjoy reading cricket.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how it started, and that led to द ट्विटर पेज. ट्विटर पे आई थॉट यार थ्रेड्स इतना लंबा लंबा कौन पढ़ेगा, तो मैं तो पोस्ट ही नहीं करता था, मैं तो सिर्फ फेसबुक पे पोस्ट करता था. ठीक है. एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड पोस्टिंग दीज थ्रेड्स ऑन ट्विटर, एंड of late they have really got some traction, as they say, on social media. I realized that yeah, people are enjoying the storytelling. And वही है
Hmm.
कि there is no specific agenda, कोई ऐसा grand ambitions नहीं थे. It's just that yeah, seriously, I just wanted to write. कोई opportunity मिली नहीं to write cricket. I got like cricket falls rejected me, so ठीक है. तो अब yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ki if I had gotten a job with Cricket for Crickbuzz, maybe I would not have been writing these. So I'm very happy with the fact that I did not get a job there. Some days I spend hours on writing a story, and on some days, like those stories don't even get any sort of traction. But I
Hmm.
just enjoy it. I just love to write, and I just love when I can tell a story, right? And
Hmm.
the more you know something, the more you can connect other things with it, right? And that gives you the
Hmm.
ability to actually write a story that would be an enriching experience for the readers.
Hmm.
So that is what I enjoy doing. मुझे नहीं पता ये आगे कहाँ जाएगा, कैसा रहेगा. Just that
किसी भी ऐसे कहीं से कुछ राइटिंग के ऑफर्स आए हैं क्या इसके बाद, आफ्टर यू सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टार्टेड गेटिंग ट्रैक्शन?
I've got a lot of work because of this. My job legit came from a DM through Twitter, right? So I have got a lot of
Okay.
work, but no writing opportunities as such. But I'm happy with that. As I said, ki I have enough work to get busy with. But
Hmm.
this is something that has brought me work, and my honestly the only simple agenda is to keep writing. That's why this year I have promised to myself that I would at least write 52 stories, one for every week, no matter how busy I am. So I'm
Hmm.
continuing with that. Already written 29 threads or something. सो या दैट्स हाउ इट इज गोइंग. बहुत कहानियां हैं, बहुत अभी भी बहुत कुछ है बताने को, एंड आई लव टू रीड, सो देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ लॉट मोर. सो इट
Hmm.
इज हाउ it's going to be now in the coming months or so.
I was going to ask you where do you get all these stories, but as you say, you read everything. You read every cricketer's Wikipedia page, so that I think that question is redundant. I'll transform that question to where do you get all these picks from? So you have scoured some truly hidden gems, lost to time, and
Hmm.
they bring back such a strong hit of nostalgia along with your threads, and they add to the way you tell stories.
Yeah, I think internet is an absolute treasure trove, and there is so much there that you can, if you dive deeper, you're going to get out
Hmm.
of it. So all the pictures
Hmm.
are from the internet, and it's just
Hmm.
that because I have been interested in photographs a lot, and I've been looking for photos that have a certain ability to tell stories. So I've actually scarred. I mean, there was a point of time when I did not have work, and I
Hmm.
legit went through pretty much every, like, on Getty. Every year I would type cricket 1994, cricket
Nice.
1976, and have, yeah. So I
Nice.
can tell you right at this point, I can tell you what photo is from what match. That's how much time I've spent on Getty, Alamy, Shutterstock, everything, every resource possible of cricket photos I've gone through, and I have a huge collection of photographs, books of cricket photographs. So they also, I mean, these posters that you see, my wall is fully
Yeah.
adorned with a
Yeah.
lot of these posters. They are also from those books. So I have a lot of these photographs, and again, something that has happened over the years, but also the fact that because of the fact that I have received so much adulation because of these threads and all of it, this has become a reason for me to dive deeper. Maybe I
Hmm.
would not have, continued with it, or maybe I would have become busier with work and not taken out time to write. But because I
Hmm.
see that there are people who enjoy reading it, because I see that, you know, I mean, the kind of messages that I've received, I never thought that writing cricket would get so much love, honestly. So then it has become an incentive for me to keep, going in depth with my reading for reading of cricket, and that's
Hmm.
what I enjoy doing.
Hmm. You keep saying that you have been motivated by the adulation that you get on Twitter. You have had a number of how do I put it, validating words or appreciative words by the cricketers who you've written about as well. A number of renowned people in their field have shared your stuff, have congratulated on the way you've written about them. Uh, you've had a number of interactions with people outside our common man sphere, if I can put it that way. How does it feel to be validated by the person you are writing about? For example, you had written about Brad Hogg, and he commented. If I remember correctly, he shared the thread that you had written about him, the story that you had written about him. And how does that feel? I mean, that's validation to a next level only.
Yeah, that feels beautiful. I think the most beautiful was Stuart McGill
Yeah,
writing, and I had not even expected. He wrote that I haven't read such kind words written about me, and it's because of something that he did back in 2004 that not a lot of people know also, right?
know
But
about
it would have
yeah.
taken some amount of moral vote to give up on a Zimbabwe tour because he did not agree with the politics of Robert Mugabe. So I
Hmm.
wrote about him without thinking that he would comment. And if you see, uh, I do not tag these people on my. I
Hmm,
never
hmm,
tag
hmm.
the cricketer that I am writing about. I do not know why, but it's just that I do not want their notifications to be, flogged because of I am writing something about that them. So I don't do that. But yeah, it is very nice to see some of them commenting. Stuart McGill was really kind. He said when I asked him about a podcast, he was very
Yeah,
happy and
yeah,
did a
yeah.
podcast episode as well. Mark Nicholas,
Hmm.
for that matter, was like, yeah, very
Yeah,
well written. Chris Adams. So all of these people have I have been surprised by the fact that they have, what I've written
it
has
has
reached
reached
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I do not want to be the one tagging them and like, देखो पढ़ो अपने बारे में. If it reaches them naturally, organically, I'm happy. And if it gets a
Hmm.
comment from them, it makes my day. So again, as I said, no grand ambitions with what I'm doing here, but it just it has opened its own doors. It has led to
Hmm.
things happening, so it feels great. And moreover, the fact that I could do a couple of podcasts, the one on cricket photos, the one with comedians, it was largely because of this page, because all these people are people who have followed me on this account, and they were very happy to when I invited them on the podcast, and they're like, okay, yeah, we would love to have a cricket conversation with you. So
Hmm.
again, this Twitter account has opened doors for me, as I said. And I
Hmm.
have thoroughly enjoyed talking to all these people. And yeah, I think I love talking cricket to anyone, anybody. And these are people who are great storytellers. These are people who have their own knowledge of the game, and it's always great conversing with them.
So for anyone who hasn't checked it out yet, check out Amit's YouTube page as well. It's random photos that make my guests happy. It's a wonderful podcast series. Any specific ones that you want to cherry pick from your series of the two podcasts that you've done, Cricket with Comedians and Photos that make my guests happy?
Uh, I think I loved the episode with Siddharth with Vaidyanathan. Sidvi is a great,
Hmm.
great guy with when it comes to,
Hmm.
the way he writes, the way he talks about cricket, it's all passion. Jared Kimber,
Hmm.
whenever you get to hear him
Yeah,
talk,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
valuable,
yeah.
right? So he was amazing. From the comedians, it's very hard to pick because all the conversations were really fantastic. And I mean, again, that was the idea, to have a good time listening to cricket. Because what I
Hmm.
realized with the photos podcast was that it was something that would interest only people who are deeply into cricket. But what about those who
Hmm.
just maybe like
Casually
cricket on
follow it.
its
Yeah.
yeah. And that's where the comedians, with their storytelling, their style of narration, they made it a lot of fun. I particularly
Hmm.
loved the episode with Neville Shah. Neville,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
again,
Hmm.
because he watched a lot of cricket with his mom, who passed
Mom.
away a few years
Yeah.
ago. And there was a lot of these personal stories, and that's what I look for, right, in these conversations. So it was an episode full of that passion, that warm fuzzy feeling where someone is recalling good old times. So I
Hmm.
if I have to pick one episode which I particularly loved recording, it was the one with Neville.
Okay, talking about your interests as well, do you still prefer tests as the go-to format, or have you started appreciating the what the T20 format has brought into the game more?
Yeah, I love everything that is cricket. Not the 100, not the T10 as such, but yeah, I
Hmm.
think honestly, like, I haven't watched a lot of it. I watched the entire T10 last year, so that was a good
Hmm.
experience. But I love cricket in general, and I genuinely feel that all these formats. I don't know about what happens to the fate of 50 over cricket, but it has definitely
Hmm.
made Test cricket more interesting, and I
Hmm.
enjoy watching it now. And
Hmm.
I've always appreciated T20, because in T20 every ball is a test, right? You do not
Yeah.
have any time to sort of get settled and everything. So you have to be at the top of your game from ball one. So it is not easy by any
Hmm.
standards, right? Uh, and Test cricket is Test cricket. I mean, again, it is going to be the most exciting form of cricket to watch. But I would not say कि हाँ T20 बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया तो इसलिए टेस्ट सफर कर रहा है and all of that. But because I see how the skills that are used in T20 often come to the aid of cricketers playing tests. So I enjoy any form of cricket. And at the end of the day, you see all those skills in whatever, no matter how short the format is. As I said, I was watching T10 last year, and I did see some great cricket there as well. Of course, it does take the, because a bowler has just 2 overs, right, to make an impact.
Mm,
And that
mm,
means 12 balls is very difficult, right, to make a big
mm,
impact. So that's where it takes the fun out of it, because it's a very short period of time. And we know, because we have seen the game so much, we know that a bowler, there is no time for a comeback, there is no chance for a comeback for the bowler and
mm,
or the
mm,
batsman
mm.
for that matter. So that I would say that takes a bit of fun out of it. But still, as I said, that there are enough skills on display there that I enjoy watching.
I think it's sort of a different sport altogether. If you compare the two, there is a
Yeah,
different skill set required for a T10 game or 100, and there is a completely different skill set required for a test. There might be people who are good at both, but if you talk about specialists, you'll always have two different buckets of T20 specialists and test specialists. It's very rare that,
and that is what
uh,
is happening also in the times to
yeah,
come, as we are seeing now that India's T20 team is playing somewhere else, the test team is playing
mm,
somewhere else. I
mm,
think this is going
mm,
to happen with every team, and every team will have
yeah,
a specialist team of white ball cricket in red ball cricket.
yeah.
And I think that is the way to go, it because cricket is non-stop, and these players also would need some rest. So it is only fair that they choose which kind of cricket that they want to play. The only thing is that
Mm.
I hope people make, like the governing body makes test cricket lucrative enough, the people turn
Yeah,
up to watch test cricket, and
yeah.
then we'll not have these debates of whether tests are going to die or not.
Are you still able to keep up with all the cricket, watching all the cricket, keeping track of? Uh, you have a goal for yourself, 52 threads for a year. Are you able to dedicate time for that still with your present day job, with the amount of work that you have on your plate? Are you able to keep up with all the action?
With all the action, cricket action, I would not say yes, because there is so much cricket action happening everywhere, right? So
Hmm.
that becomes difficult. But yeah,
Hmm.
as I said, that I mean, India matches definitely, Australia, England, these matches I definitely try to follow as much as I can, and I try to read
Hmm.
as much as I can, because look, uh, again, what these players, where they come from and all, you get to know when you read the newspapers, when you read those cricket info
Hmm.
articles. That's what
Hmm.
excites me a lot. And with regards to the IPL also, that's what I like look for. I look for these people with stories. So I
Hmm.
read a lot with, even on digital media. And even though I've not been able to watch like all cricket in the last few years, but yeah, even like if even if I do not watch the live action, I do read what has happened and all. So that keeps me good. And apart from that, I do take out time to read books, so that's fine. Like, that is not, if I do not watch the cricket that is happening right now, that should not have an impact on the amount of writing that I do.
You were just talking about the IPL. Did you enjoy watching the IPL this year? And personally, I asked this question because I felt I am a long time Mumbai Indians supporter. Ever since I saw Sachin wear that jersey, I knew that I had to support this team for the rest of my lifetime. So I've been supporting them since 2008. So I felt a little disassociated with the whole series itself. Not just because Mumbai didn't do as well, but there was a lack of mm, connect with the team because of the reshuffling of players across the 10 new teams after the mega auction. Of course, there was a lack of an identity with which I used to associate with Mumbai. Malinga is sitting in Rajasthan's dugout. Uh, Hardik Pandya is leading another team. So there was a lack of association for me. Did you enjoy the IPL as much as you have in the past?
With the IPL also, I have a story, and the
Hmm.
story in its basic form is that I do not follow a single team. So that
Okay.
allows me to enjoy the cricket however it happens. But again, it's very snackable content, as we call it, nowadays. I do not remember any particular match from the IPL. When I watched the matches, I enjoyed them, but that's about it, right? So again, because I have never followed a single team, I've never supported a single team. I did earlier when I was a Saurav Ganguly fan, and I followed Kolkata
Of
Knight
course.
Riders. I also followed Pune Warriors. But after that, I have not followed any teams for a decade. And I think, considering the heartbreak a lot of people go through when their team goes out of the tournament, I feel very good that I do not have to go through any of these feelings now that I do not support any team. So yeah, for me, IPL is just entertainment. I enjoy it. And irrespective, I mean, as I said, that अब मुझे कुछ याद भी नहीं है इस IPL में क्या हुआ. Although I commentated on so many of the matches for a uh, YouTube channel, but honestly, now if you ask me what were like the key highlights of the tournament, I don't think I would have a lot to say, because that's how I take it. It's enjoyment. It's
It's
just like,
fast food.
something. Yeah, it's fast food. It's absolutely fast food. I wonder how my interest would continue once the big players like a Dhoni goes out of the IPL or a Kohli goes out of the IPL. So so that also happens, because you are, I mean, for me personally, I only there are some allegiances because of these cricketers, right? So
Hmm.
if there's a match between Gujarat and Chennai, I know that I
Hmm.
would say support Chennai there because Dhoni is there and Kohli is
Hmm.
playing for RCB. So what
Hmm.
happens once they go out of the system, I do not know. Let's see if there are other heroes who emerge and who can capture my attention this way these two did. So yeah, that's
Hmm.
also the case with IPL.
Keep your eyes on Mohsin Khan. I think he's one for the future who we'll be talking about for a lot of years to come. I really like the look of him. He was a part of the Mumbai Indians setup before the mega auction, so I knew of him before this auction itself. He didn't play for us, but I knew of him, and he seems to be a very promising prospect. Anyway, you were just talking about commenting on the IPL. Who are your favorite commentators? If you look back on the last 2 3 decades from the time you started watching, because for me, listening to commentary makes uh, adds a lot to my cricket watching experience. Yesterday itself, I was listening to David Garr on commentary, and it was such a it was such a value add for me as a viewer. Usually, I'm not used to listening to David Garr
Yeah,
speak on India matches, and it was such a pleasant surprise that
right.
David Garr is talking about the India matches, and it was such a value add for me.
Yeah, indeed, I agree there. And I think I always say this, that Tony Greig was my first English teacher because I loved listening to Tony Greig, right? And
Hmm.
when I was 6, 7, 8, itna Tony Greig suna, itna Tony Greig suna, and
The
he
dancing in the
definitely,
aisles in Sharjah.
taught me, yes, taught me more about English, and he ignited that desire to, talk in English, like speak like Tony
Hmm.
Greig. So,
Hmm.
of course, for those years, it was always Tony Greig, his voice, his diction, everything was just like, maza aata tha, sun ke maza aata tha.
Hmm.
Over
Hmm.
the years, of course, Harsha Bhogle remains someone who I love listening to him. And also because of the fact that he never tries to be the expert, because I myself am not a great fan of analysis,
Hmm.
because I just feel that we can't really judge the mental state of a cricketer who is playing in the
Hmm.
middle,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And to do
Hmm.
commentary. So, of course, a lot of players who have played the game for a lot of time, so they know how it feels to be in the middle. But because Bhogle has not played that game for that at that level, and he never tries to analyze. He always
Hmm.
is that empathetic voice, and I particularly enjoy that. And yeah, in the recent times, I would say I've enjoyed. I honestly not a lot of Hindi cricket commentators. I would not take a lot of names there, but yeah, it's good to have Ravi Shastri back. I'm pretty sure that people are not too happy with the cliches coming back and all of it, but I think
Yeah,
his voice
I
does
think he
make a lot of
brings in a
difference. It takes it.
lot of insight as well because he's been a part of the cricket setup until very recently. So the way he talks about cricketers who he has just been with, I think it brings a completely different element to watching the game. Completely different emotional involvement with the present team. That you get to know them from a step closer. through Ravi Shastri. So I think he brings in a lot of that element. From the present crop,
Yeah, of course, he's
I'm
going
not
to.
sure if that's a popular opinion, but I really like Graham Swan. I really like him. He tries to act funny on the combox, but if you look beyond the first layer, he is very insightful when he talks about cricket. He knows what he is talking about, and he tries to mask it with a layer of humor, like just like Danny Morrison used to. But when they really get talking about the technicalities on the field, they know what they're talking about. So he's someone I like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Mark Nicholas, I think, I mean, his
Hmm.
voice is something so
We've
amazing.
grown up with that, na? ये cricket का commentary था उनका, so we've literally grown up with
Yes.
him.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Nicholas has always been special. I don't know, matlab, it's just the way he speaks. It almost seems like, yeah, I would believe everything this man says. I'm a big fan of Mark
Sincerity. There is a
Nicholas's.
sincerity in his
Yes,
voice.
yes, yes. Yeah. And honestly, look, I mean, no discrimination or anything, but people who have been commentating for, on the Ashes for so many years, I think the Ashes ka tension, the Ashes ka atmosphere is very different, right? And I think they just grow up to become
Hmm.
brilliant commentators. So
Hmm.
I think these are some of the names that, like, I really miss Tony Greig. I see Danny Morrison somewhere, like, coming close to him in terms of the, like, you can recognize Danny Morrison, right? Not too
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
voices can be recognized, but now you can
Yeah.
definitely do that. But yeah, with Harsha Bhogle and Mark Nicholas, there's always that empathy that comes out in their words, and I really admire that a lot.
That's a really tough skill to find. I mean, empathizing with
Yep.
global superstars while you're watching them is really a tough skill to harness. Amit, as I expected, it has been an absolute blast chatting to you. Enjoyed this conversation actually more than I thought I would. Thank you so much for taking time out, and it was an absolute hoot for me. I hope you had fun too.
Yes, and as I said, that I'm very happy to have joined a great list of people that you have had on this podcast. I think I had to wait for that Twitter verification for me to be considered for this podcast. No, no, but really, as I said, that I have a lot of respect for the work that you do, and I am very happy to have had the opportunity to talk to you, man.